Greetings, salutations, and welcome to League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you guys as always, recapping a little bit more LCK action from Week 5. And the big boys all playing on Wednesday. You had Griffin and SKT matching up, not against each other, but things did start off with a Griffin versus Gen.G. And you know, a little bit of vengeance here from the 2018 Gauntlet run. Gen.G denying Griffin their right to go to Worlds.
They denied them then, but then Griffin got the revenge tour, got it kicked off at the Kespa Cup this year, getting that 2-0 victory in the finals against Gen.G. And now, let's see how it goes here in LCK.
And still haven't lost since that Kespa Cup, by the way. So the revenge tour is a very extended one, and Gen.G have been going on their own tour of the bottom of the LCK standings. But game one versus these squads, obviously Griffin huge favorites as they are against every single team in the LCK right now. A Yasuo for Ruler, and we got a Silas. This one going in the mid lane to the KDA god himself, Chovy, and you got Viper on the Cassiopeia, one of his staple picks.
And you're even forgetting about Fly rocking the Aurelion Soul here. That was what seemed to be for Gen.G, the pick that they wanted in this one. But hey, not getting that roam off early enough because, hey, here's Tarzan and he wants to pick up his daily kills.
Yeah, Viper doesn't need boots to slither away from a couple of skill shots there, dodges the Tornado and the Lee Sin Q, and then we had more action in the bottom lane. It was just a bloodbath early on, lots going on there, and Fly show a little bit of respect when there's 3 Griffin members right at your turret. He just walks up and gets bopped instantly.
Yeah, hey, come on. You got it. If Fly has played a lot of Aurelion Soul, and what you got to know about Aurelion Soul, anyone that gets inside your stars or anything that knocks you up, you're screwed. That's game over for you in any type of situation. 3 members there and 3 members that can do that, you got to get out of there, Fly.
And he goes down, and by the way, this is the wrath of a Silas who gets an Alistair ulti. Who'd have thunk?
Oh, they got him. They got him, though. They got him.
Absolutely.
Wait.
Disgusting.
What? Wait, what happened? Where did all that health come from?
The sustain is absolutely ridiculous on that champion, combined with the extra AD from that Alistair ulti. Yeah, Sword is just solo killing whoever's there. Nice dodge, but it doesn't matter. You see him use the Alistair ulti and then the Urgot ulti in the same fight. That's just an example of how insane Silas can be. We haven't seen it in most regions, but this game Chovy was putting in work. Here he is again, tanking absolutely everything.
Yeah, someone actually asked us yesterday in the YouTube comments what we thought about Silas, and I was saying, yeah, you gotta take it really into team comps that want to use their ultimates in these fights, and that's not exactly what you have here for Griffin, but what didn't even matter because Chovy just says, I'm just gonna beat you no matter what. And at this point, Chovy was so strong that all he was taking was defensive tank items, and that Silas, that was a monster mountain to try and take down. Not possible. Griffin takes game 1.
Yeah, and the Griffin special, a couple of these extended team fights where Chovy just doesn't die and eventually cleans it up for the 1-0. Pretty clean win. Fly gets the Aurelion Soul yet again. This time Viper actually on an AD carry, and we got a Skarner pick for Tarzan. Haven't seen much of that so far in 2019.
No, haven't seen the Skarner pick early on this year, but Captain Flowers would be pretty proud right now because I'm telling you, it's working out well. Griffin picking up the first blood. What else did you expect?
That setup was absolutely fantastic for Sword to get him rolling on the Urgod, and then the battle around the Dragon Pit. Everybody wants Cloud Drake, Mark. It's the best dragon in the game.
Hey, got that big buff. That's all people want to get now, but it's not going to work out here for Gen.G, because look at this sustain here from Griffin. You talk about it all the time. These extended team fights. I don't think there's anybody in the world right now better than this squad. Griffin, right here at how to do these extended team fights. You even got to speed it up because we're going to run out of time.
And eventually the flash comes afterwards, and you're still going to go down. They get up 3 kills. It looks like they won the fight. They got 2 kills. And 30 seconds later, they've turned it into 3 more. Just insane, these fights that they put up. And then Lahenza's flashing in. Ruler does his best to flash out. We've talked about him being Teddy all year, but he actually didn't have a great set this week either.
No, this was certainly an instance where, of course, in game 1, you had him on the Yasuo, and that seemed a little bit strange as, you know, Ruler's kind of known, and specifically in Korea for sure, as the last standing traditional ADC. He's the guy that will play ADCs until the day they end. But it's over early here for Gen.G. It is the 2-0 for Griffin, securing themselves not only this victory, but the best ever record here through the spring split starting out in the LCK.
Yeah, 18-1. They have that one blemish that Sandbox handed them, but yeah, that's even more impressive when you combine it with, a 9-0 start to the first half of the round robin. Daily KDA updates, of course. Chovy did die once in this set, 7-1 and 7, but as with pretty much any Griffin series, he had two guys go deathless. This week, it was actually Sword, 15-0 and 5. He picked himself up an MVP, and Lahens also didn't die, 1-0 and 17. So the kind of unforgotten guys actually go deathless.
Hey, unforgotten guys go deathless, get their little bit of respect there, of course, from the community for reaching that achievement that the rest of Griffin have already had so far. But you got to tip your cap in this series, of course, to the likes of Tarzan and Chovy. Once again, the engines that move this Griffin team forward, that put them into those team fights and are the key members that are really able to get these extended team fights to go in their favor. And you saw it again today, absolute difference makers.
And in this series, you truly forget that Peanut is even on the Gen.G roster. He is still a complete shell of his former self, which is kind of sad to see. I mean, Tarzan is basically making every other opposing jungler invisible, but the struggles for Peanut and Gen.G continue. They're now 2-7, Mark. 2-7.
2-7, and then again, you come into what are they trying to do to innovate? What are they trying to change up here? And it seemed that so far, that what we saw in this series at least, it was that Aurelion Soul pick. They wanted to use the Aurelion Soul to be the dragon, to be the one that would be the roaming pressure for them, and to get ahead and try to keep things managed here. But that didn't happen. Aurelion Soul was not able to roam. He wasn't able to get anything done on the map. And of course, at that point, with all the knockups and everything going on, he was an easy kill for Griffin. Was not a good move from Gen.G.
It's hard to roam when you're getting completely slapped in lane too. Kind of in both of those matchups.
Aurelion Soul should push in the lane, man. That's what he does.
Chovy now, by the way, 9 MVP Player of the Game awards, which is, believe it or not, the most in the league. He is the front runner for MVP and should be. Just give it to Griffin. Griffin as a team gets the MVP for 2019 spring. Coming up after the break, there were more highlights from the LCK. It was a new era, new faces, but it's the same Telecom War, SKT versus KT Rolster. Welcome all you beautiful souls back here to League Unlock. Eric and Mark with you guys, and Griffin continues to destroy the LCK, and the question is, who is their biggest rival? Right now it's Sandbox, the only team that beat them. People want it to be SKT for that rematch they'll have in the second round robin, but to be those main rivals, SKT has to kind of beat pretty much everyone else in the LCK, starting with, of course, the Telecom Wars, SKT versus KT, completely new rosters for both squads. I mean, there's the mainstays and Smeb and Faker still there, but other than that, a lot of new faces. But anytime these teams match up, it's usually a barn burner.
Oh yeah, hey, the Telecom Wars used to always be appointment watching time here for esports, for League of Legends. You had to watch the Telecom Wars. This was the history behind a lot of the biggest matches in League of Legends. And hey, now, not quite so much, because you're looking at this one and you're looking at the records of these teams, and even with the rivalry and trying to think of everything like that in mind, you're looking at this one and you're thinking, there's not much here. What are they going to offer me? Well, I'll tell you what, spoiler alert, they offered you a lot of League of Legends today.
A lot of fighting in their 30th matchup of all time. Only fitting that game one would be an absolute doozy, because that's all that these guys ever do. You got Klid on his Lee Sin, which, by the way, he's played 20 more times than any other champion. Faker gets the Zillion in the mid lane. And support, Mata is going for the Galio. He stole Faker's champion, and Klid does what he does pretty much every game and grabs first blood.
That was a clean taunt there, landing there from Mata, getting that on with the support Galio there. But Smeb, in the top side,
he's back.
Smeb, oh boy, we getting it. He's back. He's getting that Vladimir, getting that Hemomancer rolling.
Yeah, he was definitely winning that matchup here. And then this team fight, he gets a 3-man ulti again to absolutely destroy. Mistiming on the ulti from Khan. By the way, he had a few of those on the Urgot in this game. BDD flash or claws in on the Lissandra, and that's actually a fight going the way of KT to kind of swing the game back in their favor. But then Zenit, stop hitting the turret.
Stop.
You're alone.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Oh no, this is it. He's done, though.
He spell shields the Q from Kalista, which doesn't really do anything. He's going to go down. KT tries to help him out, and Snowflower is going to pay the ultimate price as well. A couple of kills, in the favor of SKT, and they're not done. They're hunting down Smeb. He's got no pool anymore. Teddy waits out the Zhonya's, and that is going to be a snowball that's going to go in the way of SKT. One misplay from Zenit trying to auto-attack a turret. And by the way, this perma-stun, I don't want to watch this. This is disgusting from Zilean. How can you put out bombs that quickly?
Hey, man, it's Faker on Zilean. That's what you're going to get there. But hey, man, Zenit gets caught out there doing that extra auto-attack on the turret, and it leads all the way to a Baron for SKT.
And an
Infernal Dragon, many kills going over turrets. It is a costly mistake.
And you'd think the game would be right over after that. One throw and game's over, but KT say no. We're going to get back into this. They're fighting around the Baron pit. SKT is hovering, and you know Clid wants to get in there and steal it. But look at the burst. Look at the burst on KT. It's well above smite range, and then poof, where'd it go? Great timing there to grab that. SKT grab an Elder Dragon. They actually, I can't remember, is this their second
This is
one?
their second right here, man.
This is the second Elder Drake they have.
They gotta take this fight. You got second Elder, you got 2 Infernals on your side, all this cash, you got your items. How are you not winning this?
Oh, what? 2 Elders, and they don't come away with the fight. Late game Sever. Zenit did have that one terrible misplay, but he played these team fights super cleanly.
He did play those team fights super cleanly, and I want to give again a shout out to Smeb. He has struggled in past weeks, but looking good on the Vladimir and was key on a lot of these fights with the Hemo Plague, dropping it down there, but not enough.
And here's BDD. He wants to go for the TP flank, but Clid sees the TP. It's on a ward. He stops the flank, and he just solo kills the Lissandra. And on this replay, you see exactly how this goes down. He has a sick Lee Sin ulti to interrupt as he's snared. The claw does not happen. He has to flash over. He follows with the flash Q. And I mean, when you're self-ulting in a 1v1, you know it's not going well for the Lissandra.
It is so awesome watching Clid's style on the Lee Sin. This is the champion that we knew him for back in the LPL, and we wanted to see it here, and it came on full force here for SKT. They get the Baron in this fight, and it's time to turn on and end the game.
Yeah, 5v4 with BDD down. That's kind of the game-changing and the game-winning play. I mean, the game-winning play should have been 20 minutes ago in this game, but Clid gets the 1v1 against BDD. SKT grab the Baron and close it out from there. Not clean, north of 50 minutes, but they take game 1 of the Telecom Wars.
Take game 1, not so clean there, but he wanted, hey, you got to give shout outs to the likes of Teddy and I think Faker in that big matchup there for SKT, reasons they get that game 1 victory.
And we've got another Silas heading into game 2. Faker on the Lissandra, and after that performance, maybe KT thinks we should ban Lee Sin. Nah, let's just let Clid play it again. 4-man dive on Smeb. They don't want him to have a good game like he did in game 1.
No, they get him behind early here. And this is a strange call from KT Rolster, taking the Victor. Most teams, most regions have actually shied away from Victor in the past week or so, realizing that a lot of the nerfs that he's taken have really started to hurt him here. KT Rolster says, we'll take him on.
And SKT go a little bit too deep under that inner turret. Khan, you can't cancel TPs, so he's stuck. KT actually end up cleaning up that fight, but the vision control still in the favor of SKT. And even though they were down kills at times in this series, when you've got a Kalista, Baron is pretty much yours to lose.
Oh yeah, pretty easy to take at that point, especially when you have Mata on the Gargoyle here, getting the Galio rolling, they're making the big taunts, and that was a huge part of it here for SKT.
Yeah, they had a lot of zoning in the Lissandra and the Galio, but again, they overextend, and it's KT who's gonna clean up a fight here. Snowflower, great job waiting on activating that Kalista ulti, ends up getting a 2-man ulti, but then it's SKT starting Baron again, and you're gonna see Snowflower just kind of run in as the Alistar to try and deter them from doing it. They're gonna zone out Umpty, because by the way, still no score. And the Baron's gonna go the way of SKT with that smite and the rend, and then everyone's hopping over. Teddy's flashing over. He just wants some kills.
Hey, I gotta give a shout out here to this series to Khan. This is a guy who we haven't really been able to talk about really carrying SKT so far this year. I think that this individual game was a large part, won by SKT here as you see them crash into the base for KT Rolster. Looks like they're gonna get the fight here going away, but nope. Hey, there's still a Faker on this SKT team, picking up the quad. Is it gonna be the Penta? No.
Stolen by the Galio. Stolen by his own champion.
Hey.
Did him dirty, but
Man,
still
if
a
someone's
quad.
going to steal a Penta from Faker, it's got to be Mata.
He's
I'm
still
okay
got-
with that.
He's still got a little bit of resentment from previous installments of SKT, but they do get up the absolute immaculate clean 2-0 sweep. Nothing to worry about, no issues, no mistakes whatsoever.
I wouldn't go that far, but let's just say we'll put this one in the win column for SKT, and certainly still, even in this victory, and even whatever you might think of KT Rolster and where they stand in the standings here in the LCK, good positives from a lot of the members here on SKT moving forward. And again, you need to see these type of performances. You want to see these type of trends here because SKT need to prove that they are going to be better than Sandbox Gaming and be that true challenger here for Griffin.
Yeah, I mean, there's a clear top 3 now in the LCK with Sandbox, SKT, and Griffin. It's really who has a chance of taking them down. And now KT joined Gen.G at 2-7, and for game scores, they are combined 14 and 30. 14 and 30 for the two teams that went to Worlds last year.
Yeah, that's a real hurtsy right there. That one does not feel good at all. And when you're looking for anything positive for KT Rolster in this matchup, you saw, I think, a better performance overall from Smeb that we've seen in past weeks. And I think Zenit really did have some solid team fights, but there are just too many mistakes at crucial moments in these games that are absolutely costing KT Rolster massively in these games. And of course, a team like SKT, a team like Griffin, a team like Sandbox, they absolutely will take advantage of those.
And there's obviously still some growing pains that we're seeing with SKT, that 50-minute first game. And even in the second game, there were some dives a little too deep where KT maybe had a chance to get back into it, but they're still figuring out this roster.
Yeah, I think when you're looking at this one, you're trying to take away the big positives here for SKT. Clid was a monster on the Lee Sin again today, and I think in game 2, when you get down to it, Khan had his best performance in an SKT uniform, and I think that will go a long way to improving some positive thoughts here on SKT.
He was still whiffing a lot of these Urgot ultis,
Hey,
I will
that
say.
happens.
But
You can't be perfect.
far and away, the best 2 players so far for SKT have been Clid, and Teddy has been stable in that bottom lane. 700 MVP points for Clid after this series, which is second only to Chovy.
Hey, Faker getting the MVP, though. He was talking about, hey, it's been a long time since I've actually been able to get one of these MVP trophies, put on a great performance, getting the quadra kill to end game 2, made a happy boy out of me for sure. Great to see SKT get this.
Yeah, and Faker's played 11 champions already in their 22 games, so we know he has a very diverse champion pool. The Zillion was an interesting one, and we know he can play Lissandra. 7-2 for SKT, but the question mark remains, do they have any chance against Griffin?